Coming up on Mountain News at 6. Officials in Jenkins are collecting donations for those impacted by Helene, but their attention could be shifted toward the next hurricane coming. And we hear from one Eastern Kentucky county clerk about the impact medical cannabis being on the ballot could have on next month's election.
And highs today were in the upper 60s and low 70s. Now, how long will this stretch of nice weather continue? I'll have that answer in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Donations collected in Eastern Kentucky for folks impacted by Hurricane Helene are on the way to those communities. WYMT's RJ Johnson shares how officials in Jenkins are connecting with people impacted.
Seeing the devastation Helene left on parts of Tennessee and North Carolina, Chris Anderson knew he had to do something to help, starting a donation drive inside of Jenkins City Hall.
It really just tore me to pieces because the memories of the 2022 flood are so fresh for so many people around here. And that really prompted a desire to help those people. You know, we received a lot of help here in Eastern Kentucky from folks from outside the region.
He says seeing the community come together even after their own devastation more than 2 years ago shows their strength and support for others.
And it was really, really heartwarming, really gave a sense of pride in our community that these folks that are still recovering from what happened to us in 22 were so willing to help people that were, you know, 100 miles away or over 100 miles away.
Several volunteers left Jenkins Monday night to help folks in desperate need.
Thanks to one of our volunteers, we find this church just south of Kingsport that's in a central location that's already doing outreach into small communities like ours and helping those people directly. That's exactly what we were looking for. You know, the timing worked out. It was divine intervention. You know, God put us in that position to where we arrived just when they needed us the most.
As Hurricane Milton barrels towards Florida, Anderson says the shift of donations pouring into the community might also shift.
But we've already proven that we've got a community here that cares, that we can, you know, continue our grassroots effort to push some resources down to those folks, even if some of the attention shifts kind of away to a different area.
Saying they are looking at long-term ways to support those impacted. In Jenkins, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Anderson says they are pausing the donation drive for now to assess what needs need to be met in North Carolina and Tennessee and the potential impact Hurricane Milton might have on Florida. Appalachian Regional Healthcare is collecting supplies for those affected by Hurricane Helene. If you want to contribute by donating, you still have time to do so. ARH will continue to collect supplies for Helene victims until Friday. You can go to the lobby of any ARH location and drop off items from 8 until 5. Canned food, baby care items, and water can be accepted. A Mingo County, West Virginia man has been indicted on several charges, including murder. Chad Blackburn was arrested after a crash on US 119 that killed Linda Wright of Pikeville and seriously hurt a passenger. Blackburn was also indicted on charges of first-degree assault, vehicular homicide, and operating a vehicle while under the influence. Police in Pike County are asking for help finding a woman who they say is considered armed and dangerous. If you look at your screen, you can see a picture of Kevin Hopkins. Police say he is known to frequently be in the Grassy Creek and Marrowbone areas. If you have any information about where Hopkins may be, you are asked to contact the Pikeville Police Department at 606-437-5111. A London man is facing charges following a recent indictment. Police in Laurel County responded to a call yesterday about a person who was reported to be out of control at a home on Pine Top Road. After they arrived, police say Nicholas Hubbard had been tearing up a home and making threats after he reportedly ran out of the house. Police tased and arrested Hubbard. Hubbard spit at officers while being arrested. Police say he was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. We have an update on a story we first told you about last week. Police say they have found 37-year-old Joshua Miller of Jackson. Deputies with Perry County Sheriff's Office found Miller. He had been missing since September 18th.
Well, we're seeing plenty of sunshine across eastern Kentucky. Temperatures today, again, we're in the upper 60s and low 70s. Here's the latest outside on the Kentucky Mesonet camera looking in Wayne County, and you can see there plenty of sunshine at the 6 o'clock hour with temperatures in the 60s from Prestonsburg down to Grundy, over towards Wise, back up towards Logan. From Jackson down to Monticello, down to Jacksboro, we're seeing temperatures in the low 70s. Now, the next 12 hours keeps us clear. We'll see temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s by the 9 o'clock hour, 50s by the 1 o'clock time frame, mid 50s, I should say, and then upper 40s and low 50s as we go to about the 6 and 7 o'clock time frame, which is where we'll be when you wake up in the morning. As you can see, 9 o'clock will stay mainly clear, and that trend will pave the way for plenty of sunshine as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. You can see there's 7 a.m. We'll see temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. And then as we go throughout the noon hour, we'll see temperatures in the upper 60s and low 70s once again. But there's a big change somewhere. We'll talk about that as well as the latest on Milton in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Amelia.
All right, Eric, thank you. With voter registration now closed in the Commonwealth, all eyes are on the ballot. Voters in the Commonwealth may see medical cannabis on the ballot depending on the county or city they live in. WYMT's Madison Carmouche spoke to one county clerk about how the medical cannabis vote will work in this election.
Clay County Clerk Beverly Kraft says that city and county officials wanted to give voters the choice if they want to allow or not allow medical cannabis in their area with the new state law. If cities or counties do not place medical cannabis on the ballot this November, their city or county will automatically follow the state law starting January 1st.
Say the county decided by vote that they don't want it, the city voters could still say they did want it. So it's possible that it could go, either way. That question, luckily, is a very cut and dry question. It's not, it's just, are you in favor of this in your county or your city? Yes or no?
Kraft says after years of contention with the wet-dry vote in Manchester and Clay County, officials wanted to make sure that voters felt heard in the medical cannabis vote. In Clay County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
Clay County Clerk Beverly Kraft says that city and county officials give voters the choice if they want to allow or not allow medical cannabis in their area with the new state law. If cities or counties do not place medical cannabis on the ballot this November, their city or county will automatically follow the state law starting January 1st. Saying the county decided by vote, they didn't know the city voters could still say they didn't want it, so it's possible that it could go either way. And that question, luckily, is a very cut and dry question. It's just you in favor of the senior county or your city. Kraft says after years of contention with the wet-dry vote, Manchester and Clay County officials wanted to make sure that voters felt heard in the medical cannabis vote. In Clay County, if voters in a specific county or city collectively vote against medical cannabis, business operations for medical cannabis will not be prohibited in that particular county. Clay County Clerk Beverly Kraft also warns people to pay attention to the statewide things on the ballot. Amendment 1 and 2 would make changes to the Kentucky state constitution. However, Kraft says to make sure you do not wait until Election Day to read the two amendments.
Yeah, they need to read it 2 or 3 times before they come to vote, and they need to, possibly research it. Definitely research it prior to coming to vote.
I'm not sure, we don't have a plan.
Kraft reminds voters each county's sample ballots are available for viewing. And here are some of those amendments that voters need to be aware of. Folks will have the chance to vote on Constitutional Amendment 1. That amendment allows the voter the opportunity to vote on prohibiting people who are not citizens of the U.S. from being allowed to vote in the state of Kentucky. Amendment 2 will also be on the ballot, which gives parents choices and educational opportunities for their children. People can vote to either be in favor or not in favor of enabling the General Assembly to provide financial support for the education costs of students in kindergarten through 12th grade who are outside the system of public schools, amending the Constitution of Kentucky. Here are the early voting dates in Kentucky. You have until October 22nd to request a mail-in ballot. That ballot must be obtained by the county clerk by 6 o'clock local time on Election Day. In-person excused absentee voting goes through October 23rd through the 25th and October 28th through the 30th. And in-person no excuse absentee voting runs through October 31st through November 2nd. The American Red Cross is working to support Helene survivors while also preparing for Milton. The Red Cross says there are more than 2,000 volunteers, nearly 3 dozen from Kentucky, who are providing shelter, food, water, and support to devastated Helene survivors. The Red Cross Kentucky Region Disaster Officer says there are already more than 500 volunteers on the ground in Florida. She says roughly 400 more will arrive there late this evening.
They're going from sleeping in their comfy little bed to some of them are in sleeping bags on the floor, eating shelf-stable meals right alongside the folks in the community that have been impacted, and they do it gladly.
She says she has gone on more than 30 deployments with the Red Cross and knows firsthand the impact volunteers have.
All right, here's a look at the weather headlines for tonight. Abundant sunshine is in the forecast. The temperatures, they're going to hover near normal for now, but there's sweater weather in the forecast starting next week. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Stay with us.
Plus, one Eastern Kentucky Fire Department has a new chief, and she is making history.